Hello, friends. Welcome. Oh. It should be on. How close do I need to, or do I just speak louder? Is that the key? Okay, how's that? Wonderful. Okay. Hi, friends. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're joining us virtually. We are most delighted to be hosting this conversation. My name is Karen Eade, and I'm going to act as host tonight. I'm also the Minister of Pastoral Care here at Port Nelson United Church, and we have a wonderful variety of guest people that are here to share their experience, to share their wisdom for this topic that is so important in our community. And we're saying that, yes, this is a topic that is so important here at the church as well. So how tonight's going to work, we're going to hear from one of our speakers, and then we're going to have a time for questions following that speaker's presentation. And if you're at home and you would like to ask a question, Susan is going to be our online moderator, so you can send your questions along to her, and she will be sharing them with us at that time. And if you're here, we're going to ask you, Nicholas is going to pass you a microphone when it's time for questions, and so that will give everyone a chance to hear your voice in this space. I want you to know that in terms of confidentiality, we won't see names on the videos, and the chat notes will be anonymous in terms of Susan will be sharing those questions on your behalf. And if you have a question here in person and you'd like to protect that confidentiality, you can feel free to change any information that would help you to do so. So, are there anything... In terms of hosts, is there anything else that I'm missing that I should mention beforehand? Thumbs up? Okay. Okay, so with that, I'm going to invite Jennifer Tomlinson, our first speaker to share. Jennifer is a local psychologist, and she's going to share some information with us, and I'll invite you, Jennifer, to share any other information you like about yourself, and we are most delighted that you're here to share your wisdom with us.
Off so you can see my face, because is the microphone, is that a good position? Okay, all right. It is lovely to be here with you all tonight. It's my honor to speak with you. As Karen mentioned, I'm a psychologist here in Burlington in private practice. I work with children, adolescents, and adults. And another important credential of mine is that my husband Jay and I have a blended family of 5 children full-time. And they were 9 and 14 when we blended, and they're now 20 through 25. And so I have learned another postgraduate degree's worth of knowledge from them, which has been a wonderful experience. And honestly, now that it's kind of that teenage phase is over in our family, it's a wistful time. It was really something special. So. All right, so what I'm going to share with you tonight is just some general information about what youth are facing, what it's like to be a youth now. I was a youth decades ago. My situation was different than today, and I might not get every detail right. I'm relying on the research, so this is generalities, not, for individuals, things might be slightly different as well. So, oops. Can I just give you a thumbs up to advance the slide? Would that work? There we go. All right. So I think it's really interesting. If you think about how we grow and change between the ages of 6 and 12, and then compare it to 13 to 19, it's really remarkable. Between 6 and 12, you get taller, you learn more things, you can do more things, but you're still, your family, your parents are your main connections. They help you organize your life. Your life is pretty similar. If you think of the difference between 13 and 19, that's also a 6-year period. the difference is really amazing. It's so much happens in that short period of time, so much growth and development and change, and it's sort of a constant dance of trying to keep up with what's changing and what you're able to do and what you're allowed to do. You know, by the time you're 19, you might be living away from your parents' home all or most of the time. You're old enough to vote, you're old enough to drive, you have friends that your parents may never have met. You might be cooking your own meals. It's really a remarkably big change in a relatively short period of time. So, okay, I can advance the slide. Could we go to the next slide? All right. So, keeping up here, there we go. So this just highlights a few of the different changes that are going on. This is for most everybody, right? Your relationships with your peers become more and more important, as it should. We're growing and developing into our own people a little bit more separate from the parents who raised us. We're figuring out for ourselves what matters to me, what's important to me, what do I want to do, what do I want to do in the world, and understanding ourselves as humans, our own sexuality. There's a lot of ground that's covered. Okay, next slide. And I think currently, you know, we're in the information age. It's a lot to process. I read that today the average person comes across more novel information, more facts, more information they hadn't been aware of before in a 24-hour period than someone back in the 1500s came across in their lifetime. So it's a lot of information to process. There's a lot going on. It's a fast-paced world. We also can have access to unlimited information. We can find out a lot. I remember when one of my kids was 12, they came home and said, "Mom, I'm really worried about China and their nuclear capacities." And I don't think I ever really knew anything about international nuclear stuff that much when I was 12. But we hear things, we're exposed to things. We can go on Google searches and find a lot of information out, and it sometimes can be a lot to process depending where we are in our emotional development. Certainly social media can be another challenge. It can be a great thing, and it can also be a challenging thing. There's, highlight reels. It's easy. We're kind of wired to compare ourselves to other people anyway, to just make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do. We're in the group. And so with an unlimited amount of other people's highlight reels, boy, does that really skew sometimes how we see our own, because we're present for all of our good, bad, and ugly of our everyday lives, and we just see other people's highlight reels by comparison. It can leave us with feeling a little inadequate. In the same respect, social media can also put us under scrutiny that we would, previously not an issue. When I was a kid, if I did something stupid, the people who were there knew about it. They might tell their friends. That was kind of it. Somebody took a picture. Okay, you'd have to get it developed and pass it around. But it's almost, the scrutiny that kids can face, and the bullying is at a whole different level than before. And that's just another aspect of living in the times that we live in, another challenge. And then lastly, unknowns regarding the future. Climate change. What's the world going to be like in 20 years? Should I have kids? Is that a good idea? It's a lot of things that kids are facing and contemplating that we as their parents, their teachers, their grandparents, it wasn't as big. It wasn't a part of our experience, or it wasn't as significant a part. Next slide. So, another normal, ordinary thing that everybody kind of deals with is that growth and development in adolescence it's not uniform. When I was 12, my feet were adult size, but the rest of me wasn't. And it's the same with our brains, right? And specifically the decision-making center, the prefrontal cortex, develops most slowly. That's one of the last things to develop. It's not fully developed until we're about 25. And the emotion center is adult size and charged up and ready to go when we're adolescents. So what can happen is that the brain just prioritizes emotional information in decision making, right? It feels more relevant, it feels more true, it feels more valid. This is not saying that youth don't make good decisions. I know, this is not a generalization. This is not what this is about. It's just saying emotion factors more heavily in, and it's not your fault, right? That this is just sort of how your brain works. It's also, in a way, and this was a supervisor I had at a clinic where I worked down in the States, and she said, I tell parents of adolescents that this is then when you want your kids to make mistakes. This is when there's a safety net. The stakes are relatively low, right? They're not going to lose their house if they lose their job. You can make mistakes and learn from them. You've got people around you who love you. So all in all, if the brain has to be a little out of sync that way, this is a good time to do it when you have support. And it's how we learn. It's how I learned. Another one I just thought I'd throw in there is a change in sleep cycles. So when you're 6, 7, 8, you can fall asleep. Your brain sends the signals for sleep much earlier in the night. So you can go to bed at 8, 8:30, fall asleep, sleep for the night, get your 10, 11 hours, and you're good to go. When you get into adolescence, the sleep cycle shifts in your brain. So your brain doesn't really want to let you go to sleep, fall asleep, until much later, 10, 11 at night. Problem is, you still need as much sleep as you did when you were 9, 10 years old. You just can't start it until later, often, and then sometimes high schools start really early, and so sometimes there could be this chronic sleep deprivation piece going on. It's not something unavoidable, but it's just another piece that we have to learn how to manage. All right, next slide, please. And then more recently, we've had COVID. Talk about stressors and things to deal with and manage. What the research, and we're a year and a half in, what the research has shown really clearly is that across ages, from preschool through young adults, and adults too, but we're talking about youth here, significant increases in mental health concerns. Go to the next slide. So the OEDC looked at international data around the world, Canada, US, Europe, Asia, and it was really consistent. A lot of changes in mental health concerns, doubled or more between 2020 and 2021. And youth felt it more strongly than adults. Next slide. Locally, CAMH, Sick Kids, McMaster did similar studies. The results here were the same. So we're no different than other places in the world in terms of our kids feeling the effects of COVID. Next slide. Suicidality was one thing that McMaster looked at. Big increase there. Next slide. And certainly for youth who are facing more challenges already. Pre-existing mental health conditions, socioeconomic, or if you're in more of a minority, either racial, cultural, gender, sexuality, those kids feel it more as well. It's like stress on top of stress. Next slide. Why? There was a big disruption to normal life. Everything got shut down, different way to learn, not with your friends anymore. Your friends are a big part. Being with other people is a big part of this time of life. Some kids have more conflict with their parents because you're going through all of this in a small enclosed space, more screen time. Next slide. And also some of the things that with that when there wasn't lockdown served to sort of balance out some of the normal stresses of being a youth, got shut down as well during lockdown. So there were things and supports and activities and things that weren't available. Okay, next slide. One of the most common things that we've seen an increase in during COVID are anxiety and depression. Certainly it's not limited to that, but they're the most common. So I thought I'd just show a list of sort of some symptoms of anxiety and depression. Now, a lot of those, I've experienced a lot of those. I could check a lot of those boxes. Doesn't mean that if you've experienced that, you have anxiety or you have a diagnosable disorder. But this is just the sorts of things, the sort of the categories of things that people experience. Next slide. So when do I know when it's a problem, right? So rules of thumb that I like to go by are if you or the teen that you love seems like they're really having trouble managing the feelings, they're getting to be overwhelming, that's when it might be time to consider getting some extra help, some extra tools to cope with all these extraordinary circumstances that we have. Next slide. And then this just gives some different options of ways to reach out for help if that's what you feel is appropriate. So if it's not an emergency situation, but there's concern, you can talk to your family doctor. There's many community resources, school resources, private practitioners around. In a crisis, I always say it's best to reach out right away if you think there might be a crisis, and there are helplines and things that can give assistance immediately. So, yeah, okay. So that's my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. Yeah, great. Okay. So then I will yield the podium to the next person. Thank you. Thanks so much.
And next I'd like to ask Cindy McClure to come and speak on behalf of the Nelson Youth Center as their Executive Director.
It's nice to be the speaker so I can take my mask off. It's kind of nice being, I was honored to be invited here to speak in that the beginnings of our center actually began in Port Nelson United Church in 1982, I believe. And, in 1978. Sorry, I've gone ahead. And Port Nelson pulled the community together to say, there's kids out there with mental health issues and nobody's helping them. And so as a result of that, they pulled a group together and Nelson Youth Center was born. So I'll sort of give you a little bit of the history as I go, but it feels like I'm back home. So should I click or you'll click? Okay. So Nelson Youth Centers is a children's mental health center. We work with kids from the ages of 6 to 18. Our center targets kids that have been diagnosed with mental health issues. They're struggling at home, at school, in the community, and they're often kind of lost. It's funny when you're presenting on adolescence and the two groups. Our first group that we have between 6 and 12, they'll come in a group and talk to each other and connect. And then from 12 on, they don't do like groups anymore. So we've had to accommodate the different age groups. So to deal with many of the issues. So if I go to, I know how to do this now. Maybe? There we go. Okay, so as I noticed that, we are part of this Port Nelson community, and we're quite proud of it. So we have been in operation for 43 years. So starting in the beginning, we had 3 groups running, and we originally met here. So where this building stands, the old part of the church, is where we used to live. Now we're sitting on top of it, which is kind of interesting. I'm in the same place, though I wasn't there. And today we offer a rich array of programs, and we run programs in Burlington, in Georgetown, Milton, Oakville, and initially we were working maybe with 50 adolescents, and now annually we work with about 300 kids and their parents. So we have grown over time. Okay, so it's important to know that right now the stats out there, 1 in 5 kids have a mental health issue. And of these kids, when it's not treated, they end up in the system. And so 75% of the 21-year-olds that have a mental health issue have had the issue when they were children. 10% of the kids in jail they could have been diagnosed when they were children. So 1 in 5 kids get the diagnosis. So that means the rest of them don't often get the diagnosis. So we can't actually treat them until they get identified and brought into services. So it's really essential, in my experience, that you've got to give them the support when they're young. Because when they're young, you can build on what they have and move them forward. And I love this quote that says, beneath every behavior is a feeling, and beneath every feeling is a need. And when we meet that need, rather than focus on the behavior, we begin to deal with the cause of the symptoms. And that so speaks through when kids come into the center. If we focus on the fact that they're being belligerent and yelling at us, we miss the boat, because underneath that is the fear of being there, is being afraid of being able to talk about their feelings. So many of our kids struggle with the anxiety, depression. I have a phone that just doesn't like my face today. Okay. So one of our values as a center is that we really see kids as a okay. So we want to be a leader in this community with mental health. In order to work with kids, we have to work with the whole system. So kids are an integral part of the family, of the community, and you need to be child-centered. You need to build on what the kids have. You need to build with the families. You need partnerships with other community providers, because kids don't stand alone out there. They're part of a fabric of services that the kids need. So that's our values, and we want to be there at the right time, at the right place, and to meet the needs of the children and families. Because our program works with the child in conjunction with family, in conjunction with school, and anyone else that's working with us. Okay, so our mission is to, we want to respond to the mental health needs of the community, and we only can do that by strengthening families, enabling the social competencies of children. We don't fix kids, we strengthen them, and that's really an important thing to know. And our mission is to make sure that children's mental health continues in our community, where no child is turned away, that every child gets treated when they need it and how much they need. And so that's what we do. our community impact. It's a so. It just sort of speaks to the fact that we're holistic with family. We do clinical support, identify mental health needs, we deliver appropriate intervention, we support the competencies, and we support families applying the strengths and strategies, enhancing healthy attachments, reduce the use of intensive services, and support healthy social participation. When you reduce their need for mental health services as they get older, you're going to reduce the pressure on the system. The earlier you get to kids that are struggling, the more effective we're going to be. So, yeah. Okay. So, in our center, we have, we offer 3 kinds of programs. Okay, we have a group therapy program, and of that we have a group therapy for kids that are moderately struggling, and they come after school, and they work with a group of other kids, and then we have those kids in another group program that are at the edge of being kicked out of the school system, and that's our school-focused program, and then we have Reconnecting Youth. The Reconnecting Youth, that's the teens. They don't do groups. We have tried to do groups with teens. They go to their own groups, but not to our groups. You know, it's just the nature of the beast. And so with our treatment program, we're working with these kids to develop the skills they need to make it in this world. The group therapy, a regular group therapy, yes. Okay, so what we do is we use a strength base to work with these kids. And this lists some of the programs that we do. We do things like expressive art, zones of regulation, and that's helping them regulate their emotions, because if they can't regulate it, they can't be in school, and they can't be in the community. And so we want to improve their self-esteem. We want them to feel like they're part of their community. And I thought I would just kind of give you a little kind of a snapshot of one of our kids, so you can kind of get a sense of what we do with the kids. Okay, Sally's a 7-year-old girl enrolled in the after-school program. She was referred because she had big outbursts and she couldn't regulate her emotions. When she was referred, the mom expressed significant distress, feeling overwhelmed related to these frequent outbursts. In the session, Sally struggled understanding activities, processing concepts going on, and so really Sally's mom didn't see a lot of improvement at home. But it's funny, you know, sometimes there's a silver lining to stuff that goes on in the community. But when COVID hit, we had to flip into virtual services. And when we initially flipped into virtual services, we were doing individual supports. So when Sally got that individual attention, one-on-one screen, she started making some phenomenal gains. She started feeling more confident in herself. And she made all these, and the mom was just amazed that she was moving forward. And then once she started feeling better, she could regulate her emotions. She started to help her younger brother. And, you know, she really started being the child that the parents really wanted. So that was a little bit of a silver lining. You know, group works with some, it doesn't work with everybody. So that's in our, that was with just the regular after-school program. So now one of the, just Often than not, these kids that come through the door have any kinds of connections with other kids. They feel different than these other kids. So we use similar approaches, but in this one we use, in the after-school program, we have 7 kids to 2 counselors. In the school focus program, we have 4 kids to 2 counselors. Our aim is to get them back, because they come during the school day, so they can get back working with teachers. And so we use similar approaches, but we need more intensity with them. Okay, and we want them back at school as soon as we can. So and I'll just go to the next one. So sorry, 2 minutes ago, I ran real fast. So in addition to the group, we also work with the parents. So the parents come in and they do a parenting group with us. So because we don't treat kids in isolation, the parenting groups becomes vital. So that's the one thing we do. The parents come in and, you know, they're amazed. Right now we do it virtually, but when they walk through the door, they look around the room and they say, we're not alone here. These other people have the same struggles. And the most powerful part of that parenting program is they learn from other parents and they don't feel alone anymore. So that's one of the positives, and that's our group base. And if I just, and our Reconnecting Youth program, and that's our program for adolescents. We do individual work with adolescents. We sometimes do some family work. A lot of the kids that come to us between 12 and 18, we're dealing with trauma, we're dealing with depression, we're dealing with a lot of issues, and they just don't feel connected to the community. And this is a program, and sometimes they just need that. Sometimes kids come to us and they're suicidal or they're cutters. And cutters doesn't mean they're suicidal. It just means they have a lot of emotional pain and they cut so they feel something, because sometimes they don't feel anything inside. And our counseling helps them get in touch with their feelings again. And once they're in touch, then they can move themselves forward. So I had a story there. I won't have time to give it to you. I apologize, but if you want to hear it later, I'll tell you. Just the next slide. Actually, 2 slides. Okay, go back one. Sorry. Up one. Yeah. So what I want to say, we're not fixing kids, but what we do is about 86% of our kids that come through our program have new building blocks that they can build on and move themselves forward, which means they don't have to go into deeper end services. And so at Nelson Youth Centers, what we say is that we're changing young lives, because we're changing them so they can make their own way in this world. And so it's a pretty powerful thing to be in with these kids as you see their change. And I have a million stories, but we don't have enough time for it. But thank you.
I wonder if there's questions from the room or questions from online.
Okay.
Thank you. How does a family access your program?
Okay, so right now we've changed to, at one time I would say call the center, we call and set it back. The Nelson Youth Centers has become part of access and systems navigation, so it's a one-stop shopping. So you call ASN, you talk to someone, you can say, I want Nelson's group program. They funnel you in line and they send you over to us, and then we call you and we get you registered in the program. So ASN, which is out there in the community, you can access that by calling, and they have a direct answer. But you still can call Nelson Youth Centers. You can still talk to our intake person. Even if you didn't go through ASN, you can still call us. We'll tell you about the program, and we'll help you access the centralized intake.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'd like to ask Emmy Stafford to come and speak to us on behalf of the Reach Out Center for Kids.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me here this evening. I'm really excited to be here with you all and have people joining both in person and virtually as well. So as you may know, I'm coming from the Reach Out Center for Kids. My name's Emmy and my pronouns are she and her. I'm a targeted prevention worker at the Reach Out Center for Kids, so I do a lot of work specifically facilitating some of our group-based programs and doing kind of just some planning and coordination on the back ends as well. So what I really hope to do for the next 15 minutes is explain a little bit more about ROC and highlight the different types of support that we offer for youth as well as parents. So we will explore a few of the different types of programs that we offer, and I'll also explain more about how to reach out to us and access our services. I do recognize that reaching out for support does not always feel easy, and I'm hoping that I can share a little bit more about the multiple ways that you can reach out to us in a way that feels supportive and comfortable as well. Okay, so we'll just start with a brief introduction of ROC and some of the work that we do. So ROC is a large mental health agency which is located in Halton, Ontario, and we offer over 30 programs and services to children and youth from the age of birth to the age of 17, as well as their families. ROC operates on a multidisciplinary team basis. So what this means is that we have psychologists, social workers, occupational therapists, and early childhood educators on board with us, and we offer many different types of support. So we offer family therapy, we offer individual therapy, group-based programs, as well as child and youth care. So on the slide here are some of the main programs and services that I hope to highlight today. I won't necessarily be able to go into everything in depth, and not necessarily every service is included on this list, but I am available after if people have specific questions or are curious a little bit more about where to learn about specific services. So the first service that I wanted to break down and explain a little bit more is our virtual walk-in service. So ROC offers quick access to therapy and support. This service allows for youth and family members to speak with a trained therapist in a moment of need. The entire family or individual family members are welcome to call into the clinic without an appointment during virtual walk-in clinics. So you'll see here that the walk-in clinic dates and hours are listed. The walk-in clinics are available from Mondays to Wednesdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you call during this time, you'll be able to connect with the therapist directly, and you'll be able to have a virtual walk-in session. Folks can access virtual walk-in by calling into our central intake line, which is also listed on the slide here as well. Families from the age of birth to the age of 17 can call, youth from the ages of birth to the age of 17 can call, as well as their families. And youth who are 12 years or older can call on their own if they like, or they can also call in if they were hoping to do it with some support systems, such as someone in their family or a caregiver. So the next service that I'd like to highlight is ROC's 24-hour crisis response. ROC's confidential crisis response program is available 24/7, and we provide immediate outreach for children, youth, as well as parents and carers. Folks can reach out to the telephone number which is listed here. So that's 905-878-9785. This would connect you to our 24-hour answering service, and you'd then be connected to a crisis counselor as soon as possible. So this is a really great resource for youth. Maybe if you're feeling like you're in need of immediate support and you're hoping to speak to a trusted adult who's really trained in this specific area, you're more than welcome to access this service, and it is available 24/7. I thought I'd transition a little bit more to highlighting a few of our community-based programs at ROC. So the first one that I want to highlight here is Danielle's Place. And unfortunately, we won't have time to go into detail on all of the programs that are necessarily offered under each service, but I'm just going to give more of a high-level overview, and I can always take questions as well at the end. So the first program here is Danielle's Place. Danielle's Place offers targeted prevention and, in some cases, early intervention services for children and youth ages 8 to 17, as well as their families. Our programs aim to foster resilience in youth by providing them with the tools to enhance self-esteem and body acceptance and develop a positive relationship with food, movement, and their bodies. So this program is largely group-based. Youth and or teens would meet either virtually or in person and really explore topics pertaining to self-esteem and work towards identifying what positive body image looks like and how to really work towards that. The next program here is our Positive Space Network program, otherwise known as PSN. So PSN offers support and programming for Two-Spirit LGBTQ+ youth. They offer a variety of programs for youth ages 6 to 24. Services really focus on providing youth-focused programming, which supports mental health and increases community. So if you're interested in learning more about this service, they are on social media. That's psn.halton. And their website also provides a really great breakdown of all the programs that they offer for youth. And they offer a lot of programs which are more of a drop-in format, so they can be really nice just for the opportunity for social connection. And then the last community-based service here at Rock that I wanted to highlight this evening is our Community Cares, otherwise known as OCC. So OCC offers a variety of programs for families in Burlington. OCC runs both structured and unstructured programs to encourage learning, physical activity, and fun. These programs can be a really awesome opportunity for social connections, as they're really meant for youth to connect with other youth. And we also sometimes host workshops and programs for parents and carers as well. More information about OCC is available on the Rock website, but I just wanted to highlight that there are 2 different locations. So you'll see here that there's the Burloak Community Center as well as the Warwick/Surrey Community Center as well. So I've just listed the address here and some of the contact information, but all of this is also available on Rock's website in addition to this. So I know that's a lot of services at once, and you might be wondering, how do I reach out to Rock and how do I access these services? So there are multiple ways to reach out, and I'm happy to break this down a little bit more. So our live answer number is a central intake line, which I mentioned earlier when I highlighted virtual walk-in. This line is answered by Rock staff who are really friendly, enthusiastic, and happy to answer any questions or provide direction toward a certain service. So they may be able to provide you with a pathway in accessing services at Rock or within the Halton community as well. I know that it might sound daunting or unfamiliar for some folks to call into the live answer line, so I will also highlight a chat service that we have as well, just in a moment here. The other 2 pathways I just wanted to highlight here are access and system navigation, which I know Cindy highlighted, as well as Rock events. So access and system navigation is something that we use for some of our programs that require a referral. Folks can call into our central intake line and share that they're interested in a specific program. A short screener may be conducted to see if the program would be of a good fit, and this is really just to explore a little bit more about what programs at Rock might be suitable for the youth or the family as a whole. You'll also notice that we have Rock events listed here as well. So Rock events is completely online, and it's a registration portal for a lot of the programs and workshops that we offer for children and youth as well as parents as well. So we often host programs that maybe run like maybe once a week for a month or so, and those would provide recreational opportunities. So sometimes we do art expression groups, we do yoga as well, and we also run workshops which really focus on providing our community with information and resources. So a lot of the workshops that we offer are sometimes offered for parents, or we'll do one-off workshops for youth as well, so they have the opportunity to join us and engage in an activity together. So this is kind of a breakdown of what it looks like when you reach out to Live Answer. So Live Answer, which is the number for that is 289-266-0036. This is really our central intake line that will allow you to connect to other services. So you see it can be used to access virtual walk-in and therapy. It can be used to access and system navigation, as well as our autism and behavioral services and our services for children under 6. If you are interested in learning a little bit more about our early years services as well as autism and behavioral services, I will be available at the back after, and I have a little bit more information on these. The last thing I just wanted to highlight here is that if it doesn't feel possible to call in, youth and families are also able to connect with us through our chatbot service, otherwise known as Quinn. So Quinn is available on our website, and that is www.rockonline.ca. And Quinn is one of the first things that pops up when you access the Rock webpage. So Quinn is a chat service available on our website, which is answered by trained Rock staff. Quinn can be a really great service if you have questions about Rock or Rock programs. The only thing I want to note with this is that Quinn isn't a crisis line or a therapy service. Although Quinn might not offer these services, it can be a really helpful way to connect to these and learn a little bit more about how to access these services. And this is just another screenshot I had taken from just the website here. So this is what our Rock Events page looks like. When you access Rock Events, this is the main dashboard that you'll see. And you'll notice that there's this section specifically for youth, parents, and caregivers. So this is where you can find any current program offerings as well as workshop opportunities as well. So you'll see here we have autism services, Danielle's Place, Early Years, Halton Families for Families, Halton FASD, Our Community Cares, Positive Space Network, the Rock Hubs, and more webinars and workshops as well. If you're interested in a specific program or a certain area, you're able to click on that specific service and it'll list any potential workshop or program offerings, and you can usually just register your child or yourself online. And this is just a little bit more, just another visual about some of our core services here. So you see that we have Live Answer, our Quinn live chat, Rock Crisis, as well as that's just rockonline.ca. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Rock, I encourage you to check out rockonline.ca or rockevents.ca as well. It houses a lot of the information that I highlighted today. And as mentioned, I'm also happy to answer any questions about additional services after today's presentation. So thank you for listening. Thank you.
Okay, and I'd like to invite Shannon Tobin to make some more introductions and also to introduce Dare to Be Youth to us. So thank you, Shannon.
Feels good to get that off. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having us and to be sitting up here and talking amongst these awesome organizations and people. I truly believe that we need community more now than ever before. And I'm going to open up with a quote on mentorship and what really mentorship is all about. A mentor is not someone who walks ahead of us and shows us how they did it A mentor is someone who walks alongside of us and shows us what we can do. And this is exactly what we do at Dare to Be Youth Charity. And I'm so excited and honored, and I'll be introducing these two incredible young leaders in a few minutes after I share a little bit more about our organization and our mission. And really our mission is to inspire our youth to make their mark and drive community change. And it's really exciting to see some of the empowerment and the growth. And tonight's seminar couldn't be any more timely. We are all being challenged. I'm sure every single one of us sitting in this room can say, yeah, I'm having a challenging time right now. And it's not easy, but I think community really does make a difference when you can be in amongst of people that say, yeah, I know where you're at, I've been there too, and we're here to support one another. And I think that's really, really important that we all understand not to judge, but to lean a hand over and say, here, I'm here to help you and support you. We're all being affected by this in many ways, and some of us are being affected in more ways than we can imagine. And just the continued stress and the uncertainties, I think, is what's causing a big part of the stress that we're having in our youth and young adults right now. I don't believe our world needs more positivity. Right now, I believe our world needs minds that are equipped to be with the complexity of life. Minds that can stay grounded, centered, and open to full range of what it means to be human. And that quote I read was really, really powerful to me. It really stuck to me. The fact that it's not about positivity, but it's about being equipped, having the tools. It's like pulling that tool out of the toolbox to say, I'm going from surviving to thriving, and now I'm going from thriving back to surviving. And it's knowing what toolbox to pull out of and what tools to grab to help you through those processes. Dare to Be Youth offers a heartfelt solution to young people during this critical time, transitional time in their life, really, when you really think about a high school student graduating and going to university. Both Rachel and Matthew, who will be speaking today, graduated during COVID. And they graduated, they didn't have a graduation. They ended up having to go to university, really not going to university, but doing it online. And that's been really challenging. And they're not the only ones that have been challenged through this. And so we provide programmings and events to inspire and to help build a healthy foundation of resilience. We mentor our youth and young adults to help them develop mental wellness, resilience, and confidence. And we build community engagement through volunteer and leadership opportunities, as well as empowering personal growth and encouraging self-discovery. We believe our organization can affect change, real change in someone's life by offering the hope that one person may need to carry on, knowing that they matter, feeling that they're part of something, caring about themselves, and then caring for others. It's that paying forward, the action of giving back. And Rachel and Matthew are a prime example of that today. They are proof of that our programs do work and that it inspires them to go on and help others. I'm sure we're all aware of the impact that one or two people can have on us when someone's words or presence touch our life in a positive way. Or conversely, when we're faced with the loss of somebody very special, somebody maybe we didn't know, but we feel that hurt and pain that others are going through. And we also know the ripple effect that can have on us as well. DDBY is here to make those connections, to help our youth feel empowered and that they can grow through this process. And as we know, peer mentorship is so vital and important. It helps youth develop more positive relationships. Peer mentorship helps boost self-esteem, and it improves academic performance. It's proven that when you surround yourself with like-minded young adults, we become like the 5 people we surround ourselves with the most. And so it's really important to surround yourself with strong community and people who care. Dare to Be Youth provides the youth and young people who are involved with a sense of purpose, meaning, and connection, and a feeling that I can take on the world if I have people beside me showing me how to do it and believing in me. And this is how we're going to change our community, one person at a time. We have two very special people here today from our Community Youth Council who have graduated from our programs in the last 6 to 8 months. And I'm so excited, and I want to turn the podium over to them because they're going to share with you their experience and how DDBY has impacted their life in a positive way. And I'm going to call Matthew up to the podium.
I think just one more slide. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Hamel. I'm 19 years old, and currently I'm the co-chair of the Community Youth Council, or the CYC. I've been a part of the Dare to Be You family for just about a year now, and every second of it has been not only enjoyable, but life-changing. I first became acquainted with the organization through participating in the Survive to Thrive workshop. When I joined the workshop, I was extremely nervous. As a guy, I feel like there's a lot of expectations to be strong or not express yourself or express your feelings, and I knew that the workshop was going to push me to do just that. But after being nervous and going to a few sessions, I became more comfortable and confident when expressing myself. This program gave me the space and the tools to talk about my feelings and push myself to be my true self and the person that I wanted to be. The workshop also taught me that it's okay to express myself, and I'm not the only one feeling this way. It gave me self-confidence and a strong sense of community. I came out of the workshop not as a different person, but as a more authentic or truer version of me. Because of this transformative workshop experience, I decided to continue to get involved with Dare to Be You. I wanted to give this same experience that I had to others in my community, and at the same time continue to work on myself. This brought me to join the CYC, or the Community Youth Council. Being a part of this council is nothing less than inspiring. It surrounds me with people from all different backgrounds, histories, and hardships, but we all have the same goal in mind: to help the youth struggling within our communities, while, again, working on ourselves in the process. I would advise any young person like myself to get involved in Dare to Be You programs because it's important to have a supportive community around you and to know that you're not alone. Also, Dare to Be You gives young people a voice. This is essential for our well-being because as young people, we are the only ones that can properly voice our unique hardships that we experience every day. Dare to Be You gives us an opportunity to express these challenges and work through ways to overcome them as a community, as one. So I call on all youth in our community. If you want better for yourself, your peers, for your community, get involved and help us move from surviving to thriving. I would like to thank you all for your time tonight, and I would like to invite up my partner Rachel to speak.
Good evening, everybody here, physically and virtually. My name is Rachel. I am 19 years old, and I'm currently the student ambassador for the Dare to Be Youth charity in Burlington, Ontario. I have been a part of the Dare to Be Youth family for just over a year now, in which my role has presented me with so many incredible opportunities. I feel so humbled and honored to stand up here tonight to not only speak on behalf of this incredible organization, but to hopefully leave you all feeling motivated, inspired, and believed in. On that note, I have written a poem for all of you tonight that I will begin to share with you now. So here it goes. Wish me luck. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way forever. You can't change the world overnight, but we are weaker alone than we are together. Youth my age are so caught up in the what's going wrong, listening to disturbing songs, watching the world not get along. Witnessing fights in the street, not feeling safe with the people they meet. It's like an endless cycle of destruction. Repeat. Because yes, youth have anxiety in this corrupted society made up of likes, follows, and visual diaries. It doesn't matter how you feel, rather it's if you appeal. You're not asked, hey, are you depressed, but only rated on best dressed. You feel deprived because you're not given the tools to thrive. Oh, how can this world just expect me to survive? So how can we take action in a world of unprediction? In a world that seems so far away from what we want to call a better today? My answer to this question would have to start with me, then moving forward to we, following the community. Organizations like Dare to Be You give us a clue on what we are meant to do. Encouraging youth to be proud of who they are on the surface, then diving down deep to inspire purpose. Using workshops to help answer the question of what do you need in order to succeed in this world that seems to often mislead. Are you doing okay? How was your day? Remember, you're allowed to set boundaries and say no way. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Don't worry, I will help you during those times that you feel blue. This is the support that the Dare to Be Youth charity program brings. It lifts us up and gives us wings, wings to fly up in the sky, screaming out a voice for a better world for you and I. Together we can thrive. Instead of survive, we can become a part of something that makes us feel alive. I had a dream last night that inspired this write, and I felt that this poem was the best way to recite. My dream was of the mentees and mentors of today, paving a way for those who are not okay. Standing together no matter the weather, rain or shine, that's fine. Our bridge will carry those who seek it on an upward incline. The Dare to Be Youth charity is why I'm standing here tonight, why I'm all right, and why I am fighting this fight. It's okay to be unsure of what you want, how you're feeling, or who you want to be, but Dare to Be You can help, so please sign up. It's free. Purpose is our fuel, and I think it's a pretty cool tool, a tool to help fix our breaks but inspire mistakes, because mistakes, as you know, are how we grow, how we get into a flow and eventually glow. Tonight you heard my voice speak about how I made a choice to not only succeed, but to thoroughly rejoice. This poem was for all of you and for all the youth who may not be doing okay, but just know in your heart it won't be forever this way. Because trust me, you are exactly who you're meant to be. That I guarantee will soon find inner peace. Hopefully you felt inspired by these words that came from me, and maybe even inspired enough to join my family, the Dare to Be Youth charity. Thank you so much for having here tonight. God bless all of you. I think you could switch me. Oh, can I do it? Maybe I can. Is there any questions? Thank you so much.
Just want to check in, as you've heard so much wisdom, so much expertise here in our community. I wonder if there's any comments that you would like to make, any questions that you have. Nicholas, if you can, Jean's got a comment or a question.
I wasn't in the room to start, Karen, so perhaps you've already done this, but we've heard from these wonderful people, and I just wonder if you could tell us, introduce Nathan to us as well, that he will be available.
Yes, we're gonna do that just in a little bit. Yeah.
Thank you.
We want to give a chance for people to maybe have some conversation. There's some resources at the back, but I just want to give you one last chance if there's any questions or comments that you'd like to make or you'd like to ask before we do that. Okay. So our presenters are going to be at the back behind tables, and they will be here to ask any questions that you might have. Susan is online, will be online if you want to check in with her there. And also we want to add maybe Nathan is one more resource presence here. So Nathan is here from Bay Ridge Counseling Center, and Nathan is here as well as a local of people seeking psychotherapy, seeking support through the programs that Bay Ridge has. And so Nathan is going to be here to answer any questions you have, also as a way to connect with someone if you're seeking services in the community. Anything I'm missing before we break to do that? Okay. I so appreciate, in terms of our presenters sharing here on behalf of your expertise, on behalf of how you're serving and holding up mental health and mental wellness as a priority for youth and children in our community. So we are grateful for both sharing your wisdom here tonight and also for the presence that you offer in our community. So many, many thanks. And for those of you who are gathered here, your presence here is a yes to saying that youth mental health matters. It's on our radar. We say it's important. We know that it is something that we will continue to ask questions about, continue to explore. And your presence here tonight means so much to be able to say, yes, we are asking more and more questions. Yes, we are listening. Yes, we are going to continue to learn and explore and grow together. So on that note, maybe one more round of applause for all those that are here, for gathered, and for making tonight possible. Okay, so speakers, I'm going to invite you to kind of go back, and you can kind of spread out along behind the tables, and we can have a chance to interact with you then. Many thanks.